Man, I just had the greatest intro ever, and it was muted. So you just whatever.
Oh man, I bet it was epic.
It was, man.
Can you do it again? Remember it?
Yeah, it was a one take wonder. Can't do it again.
So
here's the thing. We're not going to talk the regular sports today. We need to talk about the Olympics.
Like, are you saying the Olympics aren't regular sports?
Nope, they're only once every 4 years, so not like regular or whatever. But what I'm saying is that both of our countries were robbed in ice dance, and we need to join forces and find out how this scandal happened, because that was wrong. That was completely wrong.
I'll take your word for it. Honestly, I haven't been following.
You go watch it, and I promise
a lot of travel this week.
You're going to care about ice dance because the French made mistakes multiple times and somehow still won gold. And their judge and another judge scored them higher. And I think there was collusion. It's the same thing as what happened in Canada however many years ago. And I'm telling you, they need to look into it because both the Americans and the Canadians that got silver and gold were way better.
Does sound like French.
I was not trying to stereotype. I'm saying the judges are corrupt. That's what I'm saying.
Is that better or worse than stereotyping?
I don't know.
Right, they might be even. I have one small sports comment, though. It was not even about sports. It was just kind of interesting. In things that you couldn't plan for, I had to do a presentation event in Seattle on Wednesday that got derailed because of the Super Bowl parade. Like things that you wouldn't even think of as a potential problem. Like it blew off the whole event.
I mean, not a bad thing to be there for, though, to kind of see it and like be in the
I didn't see it. I was in Seattle for like an hour and a half. We're turning around. The place we were doing the event was like right on the parade route. So like the whole thing just got totally destroyed.
What is interesting? I mean,
all good.
It was a fun Super Bowl if you were rooting for the Seahawks, which I mean you should have been. So
I'm happy for Sam. That's my thing on it. Like I'm not a Seahawks fan, but cool to see Darnold win one.
I just cared about the halftime show. That's all I ever care about. And honestly, I now need to figure out how to learn Spanish because the songs, they slap, but I don't know what he's saying. And when I learned what he was saying, I'm like, oh, that's a great meeting. Like I love this song.
The caveat with that is there's friends that speak Spanish, I have, and even if you do speak Spanish, the dialect of how he sings is still hard to understand. The
Yes,
best
Puerto
way
Rican
I've
I've
heard
heard
it
is very
described,
different.
and this is third party, I don't speak Spanish, is if you take an American deep South accent. So it's just, there's a different dialect to it. But if the music slaps, the music slaps. I mean, that's what matters.
Well, when you hear the lyrics and what they mean though too, like DTMF especially, I was like, oh, this is actually like a great meaning of a song. There's like a lot of like layers within the song, and I was like, yeah, like I like when music is created with that kind of forethought.
Well, Eric, what are your thoughts here? We have the esteemed Eric Bowles with us today. As you know,
Hey
we
guys,
usually
how are you,
start
man?
out talking something about sports. So, how
Yeah,
have you been watching the Olympics? Did you have a good Super Bowl party?
no Super Bowl party. Watch the Olympics. You were mentioning ice dance. Is that sport where they take away the puck and the stick and the pads and everything that's fun about being on the ice?
I don't know. I like to dance, so for me, it looks like more fun than getting hit in the face, losing
My,
teeth.
The sport with the brooms.
My oldest sister was a competitive ice skater for many, many years. I literally grew up in an ice rink.
Yeah, it's
So.
beautiful. I'm sure you appreciate it. I mean, you understand how both of our countries were robbed.
Yeah, I do. But
Controversy of the century.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. The only thing so far I've seen with the figure skating is the quad god and his like backflips
Yeah.
and like his
So,
quad.
but like what's really funny is you got to go on TikTok and look at it to get your information, because there are people that are like, they've slowed down the performance so that you can see where the French couple were out of sync, where you can see where the mistakes were made. They're like, but it's obvious, like you can see it, like, but they like made sure. And then to the point of what somebody's bringing up in the comments about hockey, I haven't seen any of the women's games, but I did see something funny. It was like a creator on TikTok that was talking about how Czechoslovakia is or Czechia, I can't remember which one it was going against Canada for the first game, and they're like, you don't even know who you're playing, like we've got better players than you think you do, you think this is going to be easy, and like we won like 6-0. I'm not saying they did bad, but I'm saying that, I mean, when you look at the percentage of hockey players, 49% of them are Canadian, so professional hockey players. So
yeah,
that explains the Leafs big 6-0.
Oh, get out of here! How many Americans are on the Leafs team, Matt?
All right, we better get into our first story here before
Yes.
Matt gets his run here. So, all right, getting to the MSP stories. Our first one of the week. Requests from your client about AI initiatives. We've been hearing and seeing lots of emails from vendors trying to sell the services or attending conferences saying MSPs need to be AI ready for their clients because the clients are asking MSPs about AI stuff, and you as an MSP need to know how to use it. But I'm puzzled. I haven't had a single client ask us to help them about their AI in any of the conversations. These topics have never been mentioned or come up. Am I missing something? Am I not asking the right questions? Are they talking about automation? I'm very confused. So
are
what's this AI thing? I've never heard about it. Like,
We should do shots one day for how many times we say AI in a
oh God, please
at
no.
10 something in the morning. It'd be great.
Oh,
I have lots to say about this.
yeah. Who's going first on this, Josh?
The
You're
floor
playing
is
MC.
yours. Yeah,
Floor is whose, Josh? You got to be really specific.
We'll go Amanda, and then Matt gets next, and then Eric can go. We'll
like
go
a clock. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I think this is the misnomer of a lot of the industry, to be honest with you. Like whenever we attend conferences and are super educated, I think that we, believe the rest of the industry is such, and as the clients are such, right? So like we're going to have different types of clients where they're at different levels of maturity in terms of what they're looking for. I mean, I know that I still have clients that use dot matrix printers. Like I know that we are not necessarily having clients that have everything top of the line, and that's okay because that's not our job. Our job, and one of the things that we do at our MSP is like figure out how to make things work, because sometimes these systems are, necessary, even though they're older, they're necessary because they hold the whole system together, and to replace them, we multi-millions of dollars. And in the middle of, the climate that we have right now, like asking a company to spend that kind of money on infrastructure is not exactly the wisest idea for some. So I think, this person's probably not out to lunch. It's just a good idea to profile your clients and figure out where they fall on their needs so that you can catch them at the time that they need it. Doesn't mean that you stop learning or that you're not the one driving the conversation, but I do think that we need to be cognizant that some people may just not be ready for it. Just like I don't have a lot of cloud clients, right? Like everybody has different levels of clients.
I'm going to put on my cynical hat today. You know who's saying all of your clients are going to be asking about AI? People selling AI stuff. Like that's kind of it. Like there is some useful utility to it, but this idea that clients are going to be banging down your door asking for AI, yeah, not really happening. I think yes, there's some ability to teach them or show them the usefulness and the places where it's not useful. But we're still at the point where the hype is so overshadowing the utility that we're not even like able to figure out the useful parts yet. So like anecdotally, I've had some conversations about how can I do this better? What does it work for? What does it not work for? But certainly I have not seen client-led, we got to use this, except for, hey, I heard there's this really cool hype stuff, AI. What can I do with it? Maybe a little bit of asking questions, or is it relevant? But it's not, the demand is not what any of the AI companies say it is.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Matt. It's like, when something is being pushed upon you aggressively, look at the source, right? We see this a lot in especially in our field, in all the data that we see. Well, this report comes out and it's whatever. Like being a data nerd, the first thing I do is scroll to the very, very bottom, and the first thing I look for is who sponsored this report, right? It's like, oh my God, sugar's the worst thing ever for you, which it is the worst thing ever for you. It was just the first thing I thought of. And you look at the bottom and you're like, who's sponsoring this? Oh, the company that makes, fake sugar, whatever. It's like, no wonder, like the report's already skewed. So the people that are pushing this on you, and they're the ones that are trying to get you to buy into this AI stuff, right? There's plenty of vendors and distributors out there that are trying to reformat what an MSP is into something new so that we're pushing AI. I think we need to zoom out a lot. And I think this is a big mistake that we see in sales, in marketing, in everything we do in the MSP space, which is we still act like we are the geek squad that comes in and sets up access points and routers and switches and cloud technology and all this kind of stuff. That is not what the future of an MSP is. The future of an MSP is being a strategic business partner. You wouldn't hire a CFO and have the CFO go, I don't know, man, there's still money in the bank account. I guess we can buy stuff. Like the CFO's job is to look at the entire business through the lens of finance. Every single piece of it, help desk, support, tech, all that stuff through the lens of finance. Your job is to look at the entire business through the lens of technology. So we build ICPs, but we look at ICPs and we're like, oh yeah, we deal with the the medical space. That's not an ICP. That's a vertical. Then we go and we're like, no, this, this size, this many people, this many users. None of us go through and build buyer personas. And by buyer personas, I don't mean like, we have people that need this software. That's part of your ICP. A buyer persona is the person I'm selling to is named Amanda. She's 31 years old. She has 2 kids. She loves hockey. She loves ice dance. These are her hobbies. This is what she does at work. This is her concerns. This is what keeps her up at night. Like but put a picture to it, put an actual human being to it. So when you're thinking about these things, you back up and go, wait a minute, I'm no longer Eric. I'm Amanda. I'm sitting in her chair. What are her concerns? What does she want to know? What things are keeping her up at night? Like all that kind of stuff. Now, your job is not to go, none of my clients are asking about AI. They know what AI is, unless they're living in outer Mongolia. They know what the hell AI is. They're hearing about it. So your job as an MSP is to come in and go, we're not going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about the entire business and these things that are holes in your business that you're trying to address or fix or whatever. Here's the tools that can help us make those better. It might be AI. It might be different desktop software. It might be a million different things. But AI, to your point, Matt, is just another tool in the toolbox. Is it going to completely revolutionize everything? Probably more so than the internet did in 1995. Yeah, probably. Are we there now? No.
But to your point, yeah, like the questions that you're most likely hearing, they're not asking, well, some clients. I mean, we've had some clients ask about specifically about AI, but they are asking the same questions that they've always asked, like cost, the efficiency, risks, getting more done, etc. And like you said, Eric, AI might be the answer to some of those. However, because of I think the push, and AI isn't just being pushed on us as MSPs. AI is being pushed on everybody. I mean, go back to the Super Bowl. How many AI ads there were? The ads were literally like NBC show spots, AI, weight loss drugs, and that was pretty much it. I mean, a couple thrown into there. So as like business owners, employees are seeing this. So of course they're going to probably ask the trusted tech provider about AI and what could do it. What should they be doing with it? I mean, one of the questions we had from our clients is, hey, like we need AI, like because other people are using it, but we don't really know like how to use it, or something like that, right? It's not like an AI solution; it's a conversation to be had. And the other thing too, though, is being cynical about it is one thing, but your employees are using AI whether you know it or not. So it is a conversation that does need to be had, but I think the conversation is much different than what the vendors pushing AI want it to be.
Well, somebody in the comment mentioned like the vertical also matters, and I think that that's very true, right? Like clients, we go to conferences and we hear what we hear, but clients, more certain industries that our clients are in might be more like exposed to that as well, where they're being targeted as well in terms of what they're hearing in messaging. And so like you want to be on the same page so that you're not being left behind either, right? Like that's part of what Eric was talking about knowing your client profile and not just the vertical, but like knowing what they're at. Like we've got in one of our client niches is that we have people who follow traction. And I know that doesn't really sound like a thing, but because of the way that we break out our projects and our meetings and whatever, we want people who understand that terminology and can kind of fit with us that way. Where I think like if you were somebody who wanted to focus on AI, you'd want to be someone who's like finding clients who are looking to work with cutting edge technology, right? Like it's all whether it fits on what it is you're trying to do. Because some people might be attracted to that. It might be an industry specific thing, or it might be a more company niche thing.
Yeah, and you hit on a really good point, Josh, is that your employees are using AI anyways. This is probably 2 years ago now at the gym in the locker room. This guy that I know that works for a non-publicly traded company, but they're big. They're probably 150 million ARR. And he was like, "Hey, he's like, how do I get ChatGPT to make a PowerPoint for me?" And I was like, "I don't understand what you mean. Like lay it out, like where the slides should go." He's like, no. He's like, "I uploaded our quarterly." He's like, "I have a big meeting coming up. I uploaded our quarterly financials to ChatGPT and asked it to make a PowerPoint, and it basically just summarized my document." And I was like, "Time out, back up. You did what?" He was like, "I uploaded I was like an Excel spreadsheet, like numbers." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "To a public cloud that takes, you don't control, you don't own, that takes a look at Amanda, that takes all of your financial data for the company and puts it into an LLM that could potentially learn from it and use it and leverage it." I was like, "It's now non-contained. It's no longer private information." And he was like, "Oh, that's bad." I was like, "Yeah, don't do that." But he didn't do anything malicious. It literally didn't even dawn on him. And no different than, I don't go into, well, I mean, I don't work for anybody because people won't employ me because I'm kind of a dick, but I don't go into finance every single week and go, "Hey man, I just wanted to check in on payroll and make sure that you're taking care of like FICA and disability." And like, that's their job. I don't think about their job. I just know that I get a paycheck. Their job is not IT. If it was, they wouldn't need an MSP. So our job is to proactively go in and say, "Hey, I know you guys aren't asking about AI, but your employees are probably using it, and we can certainly track that and look at that through, firewall logs and things like that. So we need to at least have a conversation about it, maybe put together a meeting, and I'll come in and do a 1-hour class, and we talk about, to all the employees about, or do it at your office and have all your clients come in at once. Do it one time." Yeah, that's, cybersecurity exists because people do really stupid shit non-maliciously.
Yeah.
That's right.
And sometimes maliciously.
There you go. That's the new T-shirt.
Sometimes maliciously for money. All right. Let's go ahead and segue into our next story here. This is going to be more on the kind of back office, ownership side. But what are some back office headaches that prevent you from growing? I'm a CPA with 13 years of experience, Big Four, and a lot of manufacturing and retail experience. Started my own firm recently, but I'm having trouble deciding on a niche to specialize in. I'm fairly savvy with IT infrastructure and help bring in and liaison with an MSP in my two previous positions. That's why I'm wanting to know more about what a specialized finance person could offer this sector. If you brought a CFO, finance, accounting consultant at some point in your business, what problems were they able to solve, or what are some challenge pain points that are fairly common and yet underserved? So,
Ooh.
yeah, more on the back office stuff. So, Matt, it is your turn. You get to go first with this one.
I would say the number one issue that you run into that each time, and assuming by back office we mean only finance accounting, right? Because on the tech side, it's lack of standards. On the finance side, the thing that causes the most headaches is this desire to close deals by making custom contracts and agreements for everyone. Man, we ate up so much time dealing with stuff like, oh, this client gets PCs installed for free. This client has to pay for them. This client, we made some weird custom agreement to get them to close that, this type of work doesn't cost, and this part isn't. Like all this stuff that sales and account managers did to try and get a deal over the line or to maybe assuage some kind of client complaint. Untangling all of that stuff ate up huge amount of time when invoicing came around, because inevitably people didn't select the right work type when they were putting the ticket in, and all of a sudden you have this whole big mess trying to reconcile it. Kind of the same deal with like billing reconciliation, right? So that's what Gradient used to do, dealing with like, oh, I bought 5,000 Duo licenses, the clients didn't all get charged for them. That was the other big thing. But the agreements is really what sucked a lot of time out, because clients would call up, I thought you said this got included. Why did I get billed for it? So I guess in some ways that is standardization, just like the tech problem. Curious what other people are running into.
Eric.
Yeah. I think that I don't really understand what this person is asking. Are they asking, like, as a CFO or a CPA, how do they fit into the MSP space, or how does he start his own business that deals with the customers of MSPs? I think he's talking about how does he benefit MSPs.
That's what I'm getting.
As a CPA. And so, like every employee ever in the world, for any company anywhere, the 5 p.m. bar conversation always goes, well, if I was running this place, here's what I would do. We're all smarter than the CEO. We're all smarter than the founder. We all have different ways we would run things because everybody around us is dumber than we are, right? So all of us are like, I know Exchange and Active Directory and Azure and M365 and all the other stuff. It's like, I'm just going to go start my own MSP. What's not on the flashy brochure about starting your own MSP, as Amanda will attest to, is, hey, guess what, fucker? You also get to be sales, biz dev, marketing, HR, finance, all the other stuff. And you're like, well, how hard can it be? Like, QuickBooks exists. Yeah, you're right. QuickBooks will track that. And it's no different than a tracker for the gym will track exactly what exercises you do. Are you doing the right exercises? Are you doing in the right volume? That's why we have personal trainers or people that are smarter about this than we are. So yeah, as like, I would argue that 98% of every single MSP out there cannot hire a full-time CFO, CPA, whatever. And those same 98% should be hiring a fractional to at least look over stuff, advise, guide, etc. Because they're probably stepping over money. They're probably, losing money here or there. They're not tracking things correctly. They're not allocating for taxes.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say, and I know I've said it before, but the barrier to entry to the MSP land is unfortunately low. I mean, you get the guy who a senior engineer is just, well, screw this guy. Like, I know how to do this stuff. I'm going to go out and do my own, and then realizes that there's way more to running a business than just the tech side. And this is where I'm super thankful for my restaurant experience of learning this. Even more thankful to have one of the most incompetent managers above me that did all of this the wrong way, where I'm like, holy crap, why is this guy in this position? Because it taught me how to not do it. I mean, we're talking about cost of goods and got into an argument over a case of wings. You know, that the cost of this box is like $60. So he's like, well, we've already spent $60 on it. So like, why does it matter? And I'm like, the whole point of it is to make as much money off of that. Like, you have a fixed cost of it. So we need to make as much profit as we can off of the $60 that we spent. Like, it's, so anyway, going back to the MSP side of it, is, are you able to, you know, tell your profit and loss margin? Like, do you know what your cost of goods is? Do you know what the profitability of each client is? And, you know, some, like, not all revenue is good revenue. And if you can't answer those questions, and there's many more, then that's probably where you should give this guy a call, or any other fractional CFO.
I am going to echo you guys, but I'm going to go even more granular. One of the things that I remember being a huge pain point when we first started the MSP was, you know, service manager, we got like 4 or 5 people would come to us, and the tickets would be hot and heavy, and they'd be like, we need more people. We need more people. We need to hire somebody else. We need to hire somebody else. And the solution is always throw more bodies at it, right? And realistically, to Josh's point about making the most amount of money, you really need to understand how effective your people are. And that requires some really granular looking at numbers. Now, we were really good at that, but we actually just engaged with a fractional CFO ourselves last year, and the insight they're giving us is even more in depth. But I would say we were pretty good before that of understanding the utilization of each person, their efficiency. You know, we track our backlog hours so we can understand how much work is outstanding, because you really should be hiring people in your organization and bringing on the cost of another human from an educated place, because anytime you add somebody to your organization, you're messing with the current status quo. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. It isn't just the financial cost of their salary, it's the financial cost to the rest of the team's mental health if you have to let them go. If you made the poor decision of when to have it, all of a sudden it makes everybody else feel like, oh, I don't know if my job is safe. There's a whole bunch of stuff wrapped up in it. But to shorten the answer, really, I think it's a people thing. You want to make sure that you are hiring people at the right time, and the people that you have in the seats that they're in are being as effective as possible, with obviously not burning them out.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, Kevin commented, you know, admin financial side of owning a business completely overshadows the tech side, and, you know, job technology puts still learning this the hard way. So in the fire service, you have a thing called sixth man dead, and it means that in an emergency you can manage 5 people, right? Effectively 3 to 5. If you start to manage 6 people on a fire scene or whatever, blah blah blah, you risk everybody on the team. So my third company, we had companies 1 and 2 were like me alone, just 1 employee. Third company was 26 employees, and I woke up one morning and I realized I have no managers, I have no hierarchy, I have no structure. Everybody is a worker bee. And I literally like called John Street, the founder of Pax 8. This was in 99, 2000. And I was like, I need to have breakfast. I think I'm having a heart attack. And we went and had breakfast, and he was like, huh? He's like, is shit broken? I was like, no, everything's working great. He's like, stop worrying about it. He's like, but you probably do need some structure. And then he brought me into MX Logic. And to your point, Amanda, he brought me into MX Logic, and we had signs everywhere throughout the building that got updated. There were framed pieces, 8.5 by 11 paper, that said revenue per employee. And I was like, what the hell's that? John was like, you don't know what the hell that. He's like, you had a 26 employee company that you exited, and you don't know what that revenue per employee is? And I was like, absolutely no clue. I was like, I think I can figure it out. But I was like, I've never seen that before. He's like, if you're not tracking how much revenue each employee brings in, and I was like, so you just take all your employees and divide it? And he was like, no, that's not what you do. It's like, it's weighted based on a whole bunch of different factors. But to your point, like, this is why you need a finance person to figure out the effectiveness of the people inside your organization. You know, tying revenue to a support person that just answers the phone all the day versus a salesperson isn't easy, right? You know.
And to Matt's point, like, the same is true for agreements. I was just on a Facebook group yesterday, and a guy's like, how do I figure out what to charge? And I'm like, well, like, he's like, I have a 100-person law firm, and I want to charge them, like, based on how many hours I currently serve them, like, which was like 15 hours a month, I'm going to charge them $22 per user. I'm like, whoa, no. You're talking about something where you're in a reactive space when they tell you they need you. If you're switching to MSP, I mean, you're going to be standardizing, you're going to be doing projects, you're going to be all these things. I think the standard is like an hour and a half worth of work per node. So if you have an hourly rate, like this is what you should charge. And I was like, so that means that your monthly cost is going to be like $20,000. He's like, that's insane. I'm like, well, but that's what it's going to cost you to actually do what you're saying you're going to do. So either you have to change what you say you're going to do, or you have to give them the price and see if they want it. Like you can't, we don't buy our stuff. We know how to do our stuff. So we can't turn around and have the sticker shock over it. CFO is going to help you understand that pricing piece, because too many of us would make decisions based on what we would spend money on. But like, we know how to do it. So of course we're not going to spend money on it, but our clients don't know and they're super frustrated.
Yeah.
$22 per user, they can manage my stuff.
I know, Matt. I will give you the connection, okay?
Price is only an issue in the absence of value.
Yeah.
If you had enough, I could go out and buy an Infinity Q35 for $35,000. It's really not a whole lot different of a car than a 5 Series BMW, which costs $70,000. But I bought a $70,000 BMW because I'm an elitist prick. But people pay that all day long for a 5 Series BMW when another car would do it, because they've done a really good job of selling the value of what it is, right?
Yeah.
There's an MSP in the space that I won't mention their name because I don't have their permission to share this, so I'll obfuscate it. But they were at about like $350 per user per month. And they're like, wait a minute, what if we doubled our price to $700 per user per month and half of them left? We'd make the exact same amount of money and have less people. So they did. And 80% of his customers stuck around. And he's now at over $1,000 a seat per month. Now he's in a highly specialized space, but he's at over $1,000 per seat per month, and they're growing. And 100% of their inbound traffic is referral.
Yeah.
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 I mean, there is one difference. The Infinity includes turn signals.
Oh no, the BMW has them. They just make the turn signal stock really short because none of us use it because it's none of your business where we're going.
All right. Well,
I sold that car.
Let's
go ahead.
Let's go ahead. It can kind of continue this conversation with our next story. So not so much the back office, but let's go ahead and run the scenario over. Hey, we need to hire somebody. We need to bring a body on. So we're going to add VCIO to our service offerings. So this person's an established MSP that's coming back around to doing more traditional managed services after 10 to 15 years, mostly offering VDI or DAS platform type services. With this move, we're seeing a lot more discrete infrastructures and technical needs and challenges that are outside of the typical account management type of work we've done. I feel like we're behind the curve, and I want to move beyond the QBR service review type meetings and better engage with the segment of clients who are looking to do more with their tech stacks. So here are the big questions. Which team, sales or tech ops, does someone acting as a VCIO work in your org? Is it a dedicated role, or is it someone who does engineering, design, and sales work well? Do you offer VCIO for all clients or specific ones? What role does he play in oversight and advocacy for clients with service delivery or professional services? And which skill sets do you look for someone filling this role?
It's a big question.
All right, Eric.
So I'm pretty passionate about this, and Alex Farling from Empath and I have talked about this quite a bit, and he and I align very much on this. Is that
hold on, wait, before you go, the right answer is to make it commission based, right? And
oh my God, so what is a VCIO? VCIO is a virtual CIO. What is a CIO? A chief information officer. What does a CIO do inside your business? Like if you look at Microsoft or any other large company, Amazon, Kroger, whatever the hell it is, UC Health, your CIO is your chief information officer. They're there to guide the company and say, here's the technologies we need. Here's the ones we don't need. Here's how we structure it. Here's how we do things that actually improve the business. Once again, the CFO model that looks at the entire business through the lens of finance, the CIO looks at the entire business through the lens of information. If you take them into, and this is what don't get me started on how bad we screw up QBRs, but this is the problem, is that we send a VCIO in and we turn them into a salesperson. That's not their job at all. Salesperson's job is a salesperson. You don't want a salesperson configuring a router any more than you probably do a VCIO, honestly, because they're not technically a tech person. You want that VCIO to come in and go, I don't really care about the tech. I want to hear about your business. Tell me about everything that's happening inside your company. Everything. Why did you start this? What's the big, hairy, audacious goal? Where do you want to be in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 36 months? And what are the major roadblocks in the way? Not technology roadblocks, across the board, everything in the business. It may be something that technology can't solve, but I want to expose everything and genuinely hear what's happening with your business. And then I want to hear, how are you doing as the CEO? Like, are you okay mentally? Are you there? Like, are you stressed? Are you frustrated? Like, what can I take off your plate? What can I do for you? How can I help? And then we look at the entire business and we're like, okay, here's something way out here orbiting Pluto that nobody's really thinking about. And if we go back 3 links in the chain, we can solve this problem through technology. It's just not a one-to-one relationship, so we don't see it right away, but we can solve this problem. That's the role of a VCIO. The minute you put a number on their head, the minute you empower them to sell anything, they stop being a VCIO immediately.
Is it me next? Or Matt?
Man,
I'm okay.
yeah,
passing.
you can go. Okay. Matt, is this something that you should offer to all clients?
Yes. And my hesitation is a lot of times when you start going down this road, you realize you have clients that don't match your maturity level and aren't ready for this type of thing, right? If the client sees you like the plumber or the electrician who comes in and just fixes the broken thing, then they're not ready for VCIO, and probably not ready for you if you're a mature enough organization. So there is a client maturity aspect to this, but agreed with that. Like, how many QBRs have you seen that's basically going down your line card and saying, do you have this? No. Okay, well, here's why you should get it. Like, that's not advice. That's not advisory in any way whatsoever. And like, to me, one of the litmus tests is if you can go to a client and say, this is why you shouldn't get this thing we offer, right? If you can do that, then you're actually giving some helpful advice. But I'm not going to repeat everything Eric said. Nailed it perfectly. Like, a VCIO is there to help make the translation between business needs and technology needs. It's not there to sell as much technology stuff as they possibly can. The other big thing is that VCIOs can help with is trying to identify things where technology can be useful. So many organizations kind of wait for their client to come say, hey, we need tech to do this. And they don't even know, right? They're not tech people. They don't know what it can do. So doing that in a non-salesy way, that's part of the responsibility of VCIOs. Now, where they sit, different. I've seen like a ton of different things. Just not under sales is the right answer to that. Like, please don't put them under the sales department. As far as empowering go, again, different structures. Like, if it's someone who has a technical background, they can be a little more client advocate. They're kind of in some ways the client advocate inside the organization in many MSPs, right? They're the person sticking up for, hey, this thing isn't working. They're having problems with service, et cetera, et cetera. I've seen some organizations that split up the VCIO and TAM role. I've seen some that combine it. There are some very small organizations where you basically have the unicorn sysadmin, who's a sysadmin, VCIO, and TAM in one. Kind of hard to find those, but if you can, they're pretty awesome. It doesn't scale. So all that is to say, the VCIO is someone who needs to be translating. Like, if there's one word, it's the translator between technical and business for that client, and it's not sales. That's like the one sentence I could give advice to this person. Don't make them sales. Make them able to understand business enough to have business conversations, and don't make them sales. I'll say it again. That's like the biggest takeaway.
Absolutely. Amanda, is there anything you want to add, or should we hop over to the next story here since we're low on time?
I would just say, kind of to Matt's point, but maybe a little bit different. I don't know that I would say every MSP needs a VCIO. I see the title as something that can be obfuscated really easily into sales or into whatever. I think what you need to have is that function done by somebody. It doesn't matter their title, just that ability to have the translation that Matt was talking about of the technical to whatever. So if you're not big enough to have somebody have that be the role right away, just make sure that you've got somebody within your organization that's able to fulfill that function and has that kind of relationship with the client where they feel like that if you want to be a business partner, you want to go beyond just selling them things, you need to make sure that you have at least one person that has at least a little bit of that. whether they be the unicorn service delivery person or whatever, just as long as there's one person. Could be the owner.
Yep. All right. Well, good conversation on that. So let's go to our next story here. I thought this one was kind of fun and interesting. Coming to us from the small business subreddit. It's not particular MSP, but as I'm sure that this has happened to most of us here in the MSP land. So went to a local networking event, and every single person there was trying to sell me something to every other person there. My wife told me to get out there and network. So I went to one of those Chamber of Commerce mixer things. Walked in, I got handed 11 business cards in 20 minutes. I gave out 0 because I forgot mine. Every conversation went the same way. So what do? I run oh, interesting, because I actually help businesses like yours. Nobody was there to buy. Everyone was there to sell. It's a room full of fishermen with no fish, just hooks everywhere. The only honest person was the bartender. She was the only one providing an actual service anyone wanted. Anyway, the appetizers were mid, 3 out of 10, would not network again. Now, have any of us been to one of these in our MSP life? All right,
Yeah.
Amanda,
Yep.
you want to go first?
Yeah. Who did you say, me? I actually, up until recently, sat on the board for my Chamber of Commerce. And I think the work that the chambers do is incredibly necessary, but I don't know that their networking events are where that work actually happens. I think that's where the people who are selling insurance or whatever, where they're just trying to meet as many people and increase their network, that's where they're going. So I don't want to shit on it, because I do think it has a purpose. But to the point of what we've said before, you need to go where the people who are like your eventual client's going to be. Don't eschew networking because you went to one damn event and you didn't do any research or forethought or planning. Like, you just kind of haphazardly threw something to the wind to make sure your wife was wrong. And I'm going to say that's not the best idea. I think you probably should think about where your clients live. If you deal with doctors, you go to a conference that brings them together and talks about whatever. Like, just, you need to be a little more intentional about it. You can't be half-assed about this stuff. That's my take.
You know what this is? This is an attempt to find an easy button for networking. Like that's what these events are. Some of our best referrals and clients and things came from, hey, I was chatting with this person while standing around at my kid's softball game, kind of stuff, right? That seems to be where real connections get made. You know, if you're at an event dedicated for networking, everyone is there to sell. Every single person, right? If you go to right, you hear advice all the time, like, hey, go to the conference of lawyers if you're MSP that specializes in legal firms. Guess what? Everyone there is not a lawyer, is selling something. Like, they're expected to get bombarded with that. If you can get to a place where you're making organic connections that aren't just like in a dedicated, here's how to sell something, here's a room full of prospects, that's where you make real connections. Like, and there's a reason someone tried to make an easy button for it, because networking is not necessarily super easy. And if you want to get the results, go do something that's hard. Don't just try and find the easy button.
Josh, you like it when we get spicy, right? I'm going to agree with Matt, but I'm going to disagree with Matt. Like, sure, but organic's not scalable. Organic's not something that's repeatable, and it's not something that you can practically say is the only thing that you should do. So you should do the organic. You should do the whatever. If you want to run a business, you got to hustle. So you got to look at more than one thing as your way to do it. And it doesn't mean that you can't grow by doing just one thing, but if you really want to make sure that you have the most effort behind it, you got to do more than one thing.
Sure, but I'm saying, you know, all the advice you get about like going to the chamber of law firms and trying to sell there, like, that's not the one thing either.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying it should be all of it. I think it should be all of those things, because we've had great traction. We do greenhouses, like, we've had great traction going there and speaking, because we're not selling, but we're speaking. And so we're somebody who's appreciated in that space as being a helper, right? So that's kind of organic, but also doing the other thing. You can do more than one ways, right?
Darren just posted in the comments here, you know, he's been to many great chamber events. They can be fantastic. I don't think this person made enough effort to have actual conversations. That is something that I did notice. I used to go to BNI for a previous MSP, and you drastically got out of it what you put into it. Now, the BNI was a little challenging for our MSP because most of the things in the BNI were B2C, whereas MSP is B2B. So it was difficult to get referrals and clients from there. But when I started putting in the work of educating what we do, things like that, we did get a couple referrals. Now, wasn't enough to keep in it, but that was just, again, going to, okay, well, maybe this isn't the right path. And to what Eric said earlier about the target market, where to find them. I think Amanda said, go to where your clients would be. I mean, looking at what these things are, and if it isn't where you're trying to be, then okay, cool, we tried it, go on to something else. But I do want to say that you do get out of things what you put into them. You can't just go there expecting to make all of these sales if you're not going to put in any effort.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of Amanda not agreeing and not agreeing with Matt. I agree and not agree with her in that, everybody looks at the way that we market ourselves now, and we're like, oh, it's all about social media. It's not all about social media. It's about a lot of different things. Building brand is not going online and creating content and making videos. That is one way that brand shows up, but that's not building brand. Building brand spans multiple channels. And organic doesn't scale. I disagree with 100%. We've seen it happen time and time again. Organic doesn't scale if you don't do it right. That's for sure. And most people don't do it right. And to the point that everybody made, including Matt, who now left. Oh, Matt's back. Hi, Matt. Welcome back, buddy. What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Good to see you again. In that, like, I don't carry business cards. I haven't since my third company, because for that exact reason. It's a great opportunity to do a flyby and be like, hey, here's my card. And then somebody gets back to their office and they have a stack of 25 business cards and they don't remember anything about any of the 25 people. If you've had a conversation that matters, it's enough to go, hey, man, are you on LinkedIn? Let me connect with you real quick. And you connect on LinkedIn. Or if it was a really good conversation, hey, man, shoot me a text. Like, let me give you my phone number. Shoot me a text. Have conversations that matter when you're at those events. Take an actual interest. Don't lead with what I do. Lead with what do you do? Tell me about your business. Take a genuine interest. We go into all these events exactly like that, where it's like, we jump in with, oh, here's what I do, and here's what we offer, and here's how we're changing so many businesses in the community or whatever, which is literally the equivalent of having a blind date and sitting down with your blind date. And then the first thing that you say is, I'm really smart and I've got a good job and I make a lot of money and I drive a really nice car. Yeah. It's like, you're not getting a second date, motherfucker. Like, oh my God, who is this arrogant prick? Like, you are not getting a second date ever. Versus sitting down and going, I want to know all about you. What do you do? What are your hobbies? What are you interested in? Like, tell me about your music taste. Like, all those things that seemingly don't matter. That's where you get the most out of networking events.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we got 8 minutes left, so let's go ahead. We can fit one more story into here. Great conversations today. Thank you guys. I love this show. All right. This one here I thought was interesting. MSP sales demos. Does anyone here actually show prospects what working with you looks like? Most of our sales conversations are the usual stuff, talking through pain points, explaining how we solve them, sharing experience, testimonials. Yep, that's fine. But are we missing something? Well, instead of just telling prospects what to do, maybe we're going to put together a longer demo that shows what it's really like to work with us. Not a product demo, but a day in the life of the client. We could break that into shorter clips that highlight each specific moment, what onboarding looks like, how issues get handled, security concerns are addressed, operations run differently with the right systems in place. Basically painting a clearer before and after picture of their ops with the right tech support versus trying to duct tape everything themselves. Has anyone tried this? Does it help? Eric, what do you think here? You think this will help? Should they make a day in the life?
Yes, but probably different than they're thinking. Everything we do in the MSP space is a commodity. I can find the same solution from Huntress or anybody else, not identical, but enough that it meets the barrier of where I need to be. I can find the absolute same solution from an MSP. Same techs, same support, same tech stack, same promises. None of that matters anymore. What customers care about are outcomes. So yeah, should you talk to them about what onboarding looks like? Absolutely, because if your onboarding experience is better than the other 3 or 4 MSPs that they're talking to, and probably worth mentioning here, and we did this math with Wes Spencer and I for a thing he was doing. There are roughly 50,000 MSPs in the United States. They're not all technically MSPs, but they're competing with you and doing roughly the same thing, no matter what they call themselves. If you look at businesses of 5 users or more, are 83% of those are located in the metros, right? They're not in the sticks somewhere because they're in a city somewhere. 83% of them are located in the metros. Metros make up 160,000 square miles. If you do the math, at 50,000 MSPs, there's a competing MSP within 2.5 miles of you in any given direction. You are not the only one they were talking to. So to that point, yeah, totally do a video about your company and probably about the onboarding and what the experience looks like and all that. Like, hey, by the way, we're going to send you a short video. Here's what it looks like to get onboarded with us and how you're not going to miss emails and you're not going to have downtime and you're not going to this, and we're going to transfer your tenant and all that. Make a video that walks around your office and talks to your employees like, hey, this is Josh, he's a support engineer. This is Matt, he's this is Amanda, she does, like, actually show them that you actually have a personality. People connect with human beings. They don't connect with technology or processes or anything like that. So show them that you're human, show them that you're fun, show them that you're going to be a good addition to their team, because that's what they're doing. They're hiring an IT person. It just so happens that that's X number of IT people in another building, but they're hiring an employee. So show them that you're a good cultural fit. Because when they hire an employee that's a rock star salesperson but is a total dick, that person doesn't last very long because there's not a good cultural fit and they make everybody else want to hate their job. So show them that you're a good cultural fit for their organization, and then you can show them that you've got the skills to pay the bills.
So hearing is, Matt, we need a picture of you like unplugging things from switches, smiling, giving the thumbs up. Amanda,
I
need
think
you
that
on
picture
the
exists somewhere. Somebody took that for a marketing campaign.
I'm gonna call out our friend Reagan Roney. His website shows this, and it's amazing. It is solver1.com.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome video.
In the private chat. If you go, I mean, it literally shows their office, their people. That was actually one of the funny things I noticed about our website. Is the first time I went to like an all company meeting, I went back on our website. I'm like, oh, the people on our website are real. They're not like clip art. But yes, to Eric's point, I think that is like, getting back to the more people obsessive part of it is, I think showing that would go a little bit longer than just, hey, here's our RMM tool and all the technical stuff that we can do. But Matt or Amanda, any thoughts?
Eric nailed it. The tech is table stakes at this point. Like, show what else you can do. Anyone can do the tech stuff. Like, anyone. The office manager can probably do it.
I mean, I also think that the website's not the only method here either. I know it's going to sound crazy, but I know that I was called crazy when I first suggested it. But there's 2 things that I think that we do really well at B4. One of the things that we did was did videos to interview our current and past employees, and we put that on our careers page. So like, what's it like to work at B4? And then the other thing is that we have a TikTok, and I think since I stepped away from full time, it's not utilized as much, but I do know that quite a few people would actually mention it in recruiting. And we're like, oh, it's doing a great job of recruiting. But then we started getting comments from clients, and clients were like watching it like, oh my God, you guys are so fun. And it's always fun to talk to you. And like, by the time they got to the phone, they were already smiling before any of our engineers had ever said anything, because they had expected us to be the same people that they were seeing on social media. And so it was this like reinforcement in a way, and maybe to the point of what Eric was saying was like a brand reinforcement. But like, think about the touch points and where people are going to be at. And if it's within your values to do that kind of stuff, I would say do it. I mean, we had a whole campaign around, we had new people at the office, and there's a new person trophy, and we made a joke that like one of the new people murdered somebody else, and like we did a whodunit. I can't tell you how many clients messaged us about that, and like we're like, I can't wait to see what happens. Like it was so silly. It was like there was no whatever, but they loved watching it. And I kind of feel like it tells a little bit of something about our personality, that we take the tech seriously. When you call and you have an issue, we're going to be on it. But then also that we're going to be these silly people means that everybody's happy, and people want to deal with workplaces that are happy.
You have to understand. So go look at, like, TikTok's a great example. Microsoft has like 20 different like 20 different TikTok accounts. They each have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and all of their content has absolutely no engagement because they're talking about how great Microsoft is. They have an employee, Scott Hanselman. He has a TikTok. He has like 100,000 followers, but his engagement is through the roof because he talks about stuff that people like us, geeks, want to hear about. You know, do I want to hear about 4-inch red pump heels? Yes, absolutely. They make my ass look amazing, but I don't want to hear about them on fucking LinkedIn. I want to see them on TikTok or Instagram at 8 p.m. when I'm laying in bed and doom scrolling because my mindset is different. We take this content and we're like, we distribute the same content everywhere. Why would you do that? Like, you know, build content that's actually thoughtful around each channel that you're contributing in. And that's exactly what B4 did so well with TikTok is you're humanizing the brand, right? Like before I ever have my first meeting with you, I feel like I know you and a lot of your team, right? It's the same reason that back in the days of radio, is that still a thing? Back in the days of radio, when they would be like, the radio host on a talk show would be like, yeah, I just got the new Kia, whatever car that Kia makes, whatever, and I'm really, really happy with it and blah, blah, blah. That's a paid ad spot. They just weren't required by law to disclose that it wasn't actually a paid ad spot. And I've never met this radio host, but I listen to him every single morning and I understand their personality. And now I'm thinking about the Kia whatever, because this person who I don't know has told me that it was a really good idea. Humanize the brand, make yourself approachable, and people will buy in all day long, man.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple equation. We just don't do it very well because we love to be smart.
Well, if you want to learn more about how to do that, you should definitely hit up Eric and go ahead and check out the Vosa platform. I can't say enough good things about that. So really, really cool to have that. So go ahead and check out vosa.co. It's in his name tag there.
Thanks,
We are out of time. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eric, for hopping on here and sharing your wealth of knowledge. Amanda
Anytime,
as well. Thank you for always being awesome, and Matt, you as well. So you guys
Josh,
have a great
you as well.
day. You know, I try. I can't make myself though. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.
See y'all soon. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media